Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. We're going to get started today on part 24 of the Case 310G Dozer restoration project. I believe the primary focus of this video is going to be getting the final drive covers off for visual inspection. If we get lucky, we get those off quick and in a hurry. We're going to open up our transmission. I actually drove this dozer quite some time under a load, and everything seemed to function well. There was no irregular noises, but I'm in this deep. I want to at least visually inspect behind these covers. The transmission rear end comes off. That's fairly simple. And then we can finally, ever so slowly, start working our way towards paint. Kind of my goal is to work up one component at a time, have it done, primed, whatever we need to do. My brother Luke, he's the painting whiz in the family. So he said, get a lot of your assembly done before you start shooting final colors. So I'm just kind of following his direction. He's the guru in the family, like I said earlier. With all of that being said, I need to, I'm sure, heat up some of these bolts with protruding threads. They look pretty crusty. A lot of dirt has ran past them over the years to wear them down like that. These top ones, I'm sure I will just have to blow. In the manual, it gives you all of the specs for each one of these bolts. So I can just order those new. Not really a big deal, but we'll see how many we can get out without the assistance of the torch or turning them into liquid. Got our first one out. Now we have to bump up to our 3/4 inch socket and 3/4 inch wrench. That there was a nasty battle right there. Get that one off. A lot of deformation over the years. And some pitting, it looks like. Let's keep going. We have all of our bolts out. There hasn't been too much leakage on the floor just yet. And this one you can actually physically see that it's starting to separate, but I don't know if you guys picked it up in the video, but you could actually hear that the cast iron casement here started to loosen up while I was tapping out the last bolt. You can hear it. Versus over on this side, that's something to pay attention to as you're taking apart this old equipment. In the manual, it talks about cleaning up these 4 3/8 national coarse thread push holes right here. These are designed into the casting to help push the face off of the rear casement. We're going to go ahead and get those cleaned up now. Okay, we've cleaned all of our holes. I was able to scrounge up a few bolts. Let's get those thrown in. Well, that was stupid. We have the final drive face up on the table. You guys saw I was not using my head right there. Not exactly sure what I was thinking. That was 100% stupid on my part. That being said, I don't think we have any damage to write home about. Right here is where the final drive landed, thankfully. We didn't even mash up our threads. If we did, I think I'll be able to hit them with a thread file. Lucky, lucky, lucky on that. We moved our bearing out, I would say 1/4 inch to 5/16 of an inch, dropping it like that. I'm counting my lucky stars, that's for sure. Let's flip this over, take a look at the inside. This is a look at the other side. I believe this guy is going to be going right back together. All of the bearings are in just perfect shape. They all spin perfectly. We roll our pinion, just excellent all the way through. The only thing that is quote unquote concerning to me, I can pull this pinion very easily. You can see our surface here. It is polished, but there is not a burr one to be found. I'm going to reinstall that. Before I reinstall the pinion, you can see here we have just excellent. There is some grit. We have excellent teeth on the bull gear. A lot of the grit has settled down into the bottom. We'll go look at the other part of the final drive housing in just a second. That is to be expected running this long. try to reinstall this on camera. We will see. Get it started. Seems like it's in good shape. I do know we have a spacer here. Goes on. If I'm disassembling this, or reassembling, I'm sorry. If I'm assembling this incorrectly, comment down below, because the unit was not supposed to fall on the ground and send parts flying. We still have our snap ring entombed in there. Believe that goes on there. And then that is the coupler that corresponds to this shaft right here. All the splines look to be in excellent shape. Our bearing races, they seem to be awesome. No grooving, no churning of the bearings. Here you can see some of the grit down there. That is about 1/2 inch thick in sludge. Here's our fill port. It's magnetic as well, very nice to see. I really wish, guys, I wouldn't have dropped that on the ground. Fortunately, the good Lord was with me. Nobody got hurt. You really got to be using your head when you're out here, especially working by yourself like I am today. You drop these big components on you, it's going to be a long trip to the ER if you're driving yourself. Another thing I am slightly concerned about, this seems to float on the shaft. I'm not sure if I shoved this bearing out or it hitting the shaft coming out of the final drive itself, shoving this bearing forward. It seems like it has slightly less travel than the amount that we shoved out of the front here. Comment down below, guys. I'm kind of scratching my head. All of that being said, I just want to reiterate one more time, be safe when you're out here working on this stuff. That was a bonehead, stupid move on my part. But you guys got to see it, so hopefully you won't make the same mistake. Let's move on to the other side. And this time, when I'm throwing those push bolts in, that sucker's gonna be low to the ground. This is the side that has the, I believe, replaced bearing. The outer seal was all chewed off, where I think they had a bearing failure here. So we got to open this one up for sure. Look inside. Hopefully not going to drop this one. Fingers crossed. Wish me luck. With all that being said, let's get you guys on the tripod and we'll bring you along. All right, guys, we got that one out. The bearings seem to be a little more suspect, let's say. Let's get it up here on the table for closer examination. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have some good news and I have some bad news. Unfortunately, I believe my theory holds true that this bearing failed at one point and caused I'm assuming the balls to shoot out and kind of did some damage to our final drive housing. We'll go over that in just a bit. We also have some spalling going on the pinion gear. If anyone knows where they can get these, I would love to talk to you. Comment below. I'll do my own research, of course. Some of them are really bad where this kind of rode at an angle due to the large bull gear losing its front bearing. Looking here at the bull gear, it fared much better, of course, because the ratio is much different, but we still have some wear and some chipping in different places. Kind of frustrating. Another quote-unquote scary thing, we do not seem to have this spacer. Once again, the other one fell apart on the floor. I'm 90% sure it goes right there on the spline coupler. So that would have allowed this shaft to float. I think the bearings retained it, so we might get lucky there, but I don't know. It's kind of scary. I can easily have one of those machined and made, but it's unfortunate that it's missing. It's probably rolling around in someone's shop from about 40 years ago. I have the outer final drive case installed on the bearing so we can see what our bore looks like. And honestly, guys, it really doesn't look too bad. I'll remove this in just a second so you can see the damage that has happened to the old girl. Let me pull this back off of here. Before I flip the casing over, I thought we would look at this bore. I'm not exactly sure. Right here, it looks like someone could have tried to stake the old bearing in, or they had to cut the outer race of the old bearing to get it out of there. Probably was done when MIG welders weren't as readily available, so they didn't know to weld on the inside ring. I'm not sure. Maybe the balls were still in there and they didn't want to blow cutting torch down in there. I don't know. That's a small cause for concern. Nothing I really haven't seen before. Let's flip it over. This is exactly how the outer seal retainer was removed. You can see we have a large machined off portion where I assume this inner bearing failed, this bearing here, and then proceeded to machine the seal retainer like we've seen. When that happened, I assume we picked up this wear right here. Not exactly sure. Hoping it'll focus. Doesn't look too healthy. At the same time, they spin slow. There's no real shoulders that I can feel. I don't know, perhaps someone had this welded and then they had it rebored. I'm not exactly sure. Comment below what you guys are thinking. The machine was perfectly functional. I had the transmission under a load, like I said. I ran it in all the gears. Didn't really notice any problems, so to speak, out of this side. These pinion gear teeth, they do seem a little on the rough side. I would love to have a replacement. I don't exactly know. Let me know in the comments below. I'm also kind of curious about reversing it. But with the amount of spalling we have going on, I just don't know, guys. Comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback, especially you guys that are in the Case Dozer forum on Facebook. I mentioned here that we were missing the spacer that we found in the other machine. With that being said, our splines are in perfect shape. Our snap ring is still intact. No issues here whatsoever. Let's look inside. Right there, I don't see any chipping or twisting going on, so I have a feeling that the two bearings on the pinion shaft itself kind of helped to locate this, and because these splines are only so deep, this spacer could only run forward so far. I'm going to try to reassemble the final drive as much as I can, just to look everything over and see if anything speaks to me, so to speak. I'm gonna see if I can capture this on video. No promises how this will come out, but I do have some play in the bearing. With that being said, I would have to really get the calipers out and mic everything to see, but I'm curious about, I think it's bearing mount Loctite will take up to like 15 thousandths play. I really hate to do that, but it might be my only option. I'll see if I can get this installed and show you how much play we have. Right about there is where the bearing was at when I started, give or take. I'm hoping that's coming out on camera. She's what you call loosey-goosey. Not good. With all of that being said, we do have another bearing surface that obviously isn't mounted, so that would stiffen things up a little bit. You can see that it looks like it has had some use, let's say, as well. And I believe here, again, somebody got a little too happy with the hot wrench. I don't know. Down there we have what looks like some chipping. I don't know if they tried to stake the bearing in. Of course, this being cast iron, it's probably not going to work very well. Hard to say, guys. With all of that being said, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get future notifications when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.